Gentlemen, welcome back to Game on Purpose. My name is Michael, and last week we talked about motivation, how motivation works for us, how it works against us, and how we can push through to get done what we need to do. This week, I want to talk about how small wins can change everything. But before we do that, let's check back in with the Baltimore Ravens here at the end of the season. We did simulate a couple of more games, beating the Steelers, the Bengals, but had a loss to the Patriots, which leaves our record at 12-3, firmly placing us in the 1 seed with 2 games left before the playoffs. This week, we're up against the Packers, who are also in the playoff hunt and have none other than Tom Brady as their quarterback. This will be a tough game. We're going into Lambeau. Let's see what we can do. And here we are at historic Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. This is a great end-of-season test for us getting ready for the playoffs. They need to win to get into the playoffs. And here comes Tom Brady and the rest of that Packers team. And we'll be kicking off to them. Let's see how our defense does against Tom Brady and the rest of this offense. I know they have Tiki Barber at running back. So we have our hands full with this team. Man, trying to make a big return there. So coming off of last week's conversation around motivation, I want to talk about how small wins can make big changes in your life. I think most people overlook how important small wins actually are because they don't feel like they matter in the moment. Making small changes, making incremental updates to the way you're doing things or a goal that you're going after, those small moments may not feel like much at the time. Because everybody's looking for that big result. They're looking for that big change in their life that's going to make that goal happen. Whatever it is you're looking to do. Let's get a pick here. Oh, God. What a catch. You want to feel like you're making progress, not just making these small little changes. That's not how our brains work. That's not how it doesn't feel good. It feels like we're not progressing. So when something feels too small, it almost feels pointless. It feels like maybe I'm not actually making this change that I want to make. You want to feel like you're making real progress, not just doing something small. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Well, that didn't go well. Defense didn't hold up well on that one. I think we're too worried about Tom Brady throwing the pass, and we forgot about Tiki Barber, and he just ran it right over us. Going back into this, when something feels too small, it almost feels pointless. And I think the problem is we expect things to change fast. We set ourselves a goal. We want to go out there and make that happen. We want to change it immediately. An overnight success. We want big results right away. But unfortunately, most things don't work out that way. Especially if you're making a change in your life. If you're doing something that isn't something that you're normally accustomed to doing. All right, I think we got that first down. Let's keep this moving. I really want to get Bo Jackson going. And kind of going back into what we talked about last week with motivation and how if motivation isn't there, nice run. If motivation isn't there, you may just not do it. Your brain stops you from doing it. There's no reward. There's no dopamine. You're not going to do it. So when we don't see big progress, when we just see these incremental small steps, we immediately think we have to stop. This isn't going where I want it to go. This isn't going to get me where I'm trying to go. But what you have to remember is that each small step that you take is another step towards that goal. It may be little. It may just be one small thing that changes everything for you. We quit before anything actually has time to build. And that's a good example of what just happened in the game here. I can take small steps to drive down the field incrementally. I did take a big shot just there on that play. That was risky. But each time I try to run a play, it's just to get another yard down the field. Can we get that yard? Can we get that first down? Can we get in the end zone? Bo Jackson, touchdown. This is what I'm talking about. And those small steps, those small wins start to add up to something much larger. And once you start taking these small steps, and as you continue to do it, and you don't rely on motivation, and it becomes a consistency in your life, you start to create a habit. And habits are the compound interest of self improvement. If you're able to improve 1% every day, it doesn't seem significant. It doesn't seem like you're making the change that you're looking to make. But if you take that 1%, if you improve 1% every day, that can be transformative over time. Small wins are valuable not because of the immediate result, but because they reinforce identity and create momentum. This is the opposite of what we were talking about with motivation. You are not relying on motivation. You are not relying on something that's some outside force that's pushing you. You're relying on yourself. And you're taking that 1% every single day and building something bigger. And that can be something like, let's say you want to be a reader. I'm going to read 10 books this year. That's a pretty lofty goal. If you're not accustomed to reading and you're not used to doing that on a daily basis, reading 10 books is a lot. So why not read one page before bed? Again, a very small step. But that is a vote for yourself to become a reader. Maybe you're not, you don't work out a lot. Oh, that was my coverage. Maybe you don't go to the gym. Maybe you want to become, an athletic. You want to become an athlete. You want to be stronger than you are. You can't go into the gym and do a full set of lift. You're going to hurt yourself. But doing one push-up to start is a vote to becoming an active person. This emphasizes that every small action is a vote to becoming the person that you want to become. Reading one page, that was a bullet from Tom Brady. And with that, we're going to jump into the key moments. But like I said, that is a vote for you becoming the person you want to become. Reading that one page, doing that one push-up, that is helping you transform one step at a time to becoming the person that you want to become. And these small wins matter because they prove something to yourself. I don't know how many times I've heard people say that they've got this lofty goal that they want to go after, but they just don't know how to do it because it seems out of reach. It's those small wins. It's those little things that they do that get them there. I need to get this field goal, stay in this game. Beautiful. All right, the defense held up. We got the ball back before halftime. Let's see if we can get at least a field goal here. I'd love to get a touchdown. But I want to tell a story as we're finishing this half about these small wins, about little things that can make big changes. And what it is called is the aggregation of marginal gains. Ooh, here we go. Attaboy, Bo Jackson. And this is a story from Atomic Habits. This is a story about the British Olympic cycling team, they weren't living up to the expectations that they thought. They were doing great, but they weren't winning. They were falling behind a little bit. And so this British cycler, their coach, Dave Brailsford, I believe, he focused on dozens of tiny little improvements. It wasn't major changes. It wasn't changing their training habits. It wasn't changing, ouch. It was changing things like their bike seats. He got them better pillows so that they could sleep better. He improved their hand washing techniques within their training facility because any speck of dirt could change how their bikes perform, how they perform, little things like that. Slightly better training methods, nothing huge. And the result, they improved immediately. No single change mattered much, but together they produced dramatic results. And this is just one story that proves that just little, tiny, incremental wins. What a catch! Yes, that's exactly what we needed. And that's just an example of how small wins can change everything for you. I highly encourage that book. I know I've mentioned it a handful of times. Oh, no. All right, we're in big trouble here. Beginning of the fourth quarter, we're down. We're down 14-10. They're looking to score again. There's a good stop. And kind of continuing this, stopping procrastination is a huge piece of this. All right, we're going to get the ball back, down by a touchdown. This is huge. But this is, again, talking about how we can shrink these tasks into more bite-sized, small wins that's going to help us succeed in the goals we're going after. All right, we're going to try to punch this in with our fullback. Let's see how we can do this. Touchdown. All right, we're going to make a defensive stop here, see if we can get the ball back with some time. But stopping procrastinating and then taking what we talked about as far as doing the small little tasks that's going to get you to a greater goal. Again, read that one page before bed. If you're looking to become a runner and you've never done it before, maybe it's just putting on your running shoes. Just put them on. Change your mentality around running. The small wins become a gateway to large behavior. Something small, like just putting on your shoes. I know one thing that I've done for myself to keep myself motivated as I've done my own things, I buy shoes that make me excited. I buy gear that makes me want to go do that activity. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like I want to go do that thing. So buy yourself something that's going to make you feel excited about that task. Get yourself a pair of shoes that make you happy. If you're not ready to go out and do that run yet, just put them on. Put them on, walk around the house. It'll feel good. It'll feel like you're taking a step in the right direction. And tapping back into kind of the mental side of things, of all of the things that boost emotions, motivation, and performance, the most important thing is progress in things that are meaningful to you. And whatever that is, whatever feels meaningful, making those changes, those small incremental changes, we're going to get the ball back and we're going to score and win this game. And what this is called is the progress principle. Let's get a return here first and we'll touch on that. And with the theme of what we've been talking about, small wins often matter more than large victories in this progress principle. small wins that will get you to that main goal. Consistent, visible progress. Consistent, visible progress. You're seeing it happen in front of you. That is what increases your motivation to keep doing this thing. There's a great pass. Let's trying to get out of bounds. I'm not going to call a timeout. We're going to save those 2 timeouts so we can drive down the field here. And yourself, if you're part of a team, whatever that looks like, those small incremental goals, those small incremental steps can help you become more resilient. And that right there is part of this entire conversation, this entire series, what we're talking about. Building resilience. You are not the person that you have become. You are the person that you are trying to be. You can make that change at any point. You can become whoever you want to become. Shrink these changes into bite-sized chunks for yourself. However, that works for you. Don't try to take on the whole thing at once. Do it in small, bite-sized chunks. Small wins will change everything. There he is. Oh, what a catch. Okay, we're going to hold up. They're going to call the timeout. We have an injury timeout. And the last thing I'll leave this with is that confidence comes from stacking these small wins. Let's get in there. Get in there, Pacheco. Touchdown. I think we left a little too much time on the clock, but our defense is going to hold up. To recap what I just said, confidence comes from stacking small wins, not thinking about them. Again, we spend a lot of time thinking about the things we want to do in our lives. How about we start building confidence by actually doing them? It's just a few steps. It's just a few things. But again, if we're building our confidence and we're moving forward, and you might make mistakes, there might be some things that you do wrong in that process, and that's okay. What a catch. That's what we don't need. To kind of bring this home, in my life, I've taken some very small steps to make big changes, and this is one of them. One episode at a time, one conversation at a time. It may not be impactful as one video, but as these stack, it becomes a bigger, grander conversation, and it becomes something that I wanted to do. I didn't do this overnight. I didn't make the change. Oh no. Oh no. We just got bombed on. Tom Brady again. Well, looks like we're going to get some bonus coverage. And we're going to go into overtime with the Packers. All right. We got to do something big here, which is the opposite of the conversation we're trying to have. The goal isn't to do something big. The goal is to take small, consistent steps. And that's how I'm going to approach this right now. We're going to take small steps, 1 yard at a time. That doesn't feel like much, but I promise you it adds up. We do not have Bo Jackson in the game. Bo Jackson seems to be injured. That changes everything for us. Oh my gosh. Okay. We got our work cut out for us here. 3 ideas. There we go. 3 ideas I want you to walk away from understanding and remembering is we quit before anything actually has time to build. We do not give ourselves the space, the time, or the freedom because we think we've got to accomplish these big goals. and they can only happen overnight, or they have to happen quickly. And if they don't, we get bored, we lose motivation. We don't want to do it. With that being said, momentum comes from the small wins repeated over time. It might not feel like much, but it adds up. I'm going to move. Let's see what we can do here. We've got Harvin coming up across the middle. Adams going out. Let's see what develops here. Oh, Percy. Oh, Percy. That was terrible. Wide open across the middle here. Winslow. I'm going to run this. Okay. Fourth down. We let this clock tick down to 57 seconds. We're going to kick the field goal. And once again, we're going to try to rely on our defense to win this game. And the next time we get called into the game, it's 4th and 12, 23 seconds left. We are not going to let this come over the top. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. They have no timeouts. They have no timeouts. And with that, the Baltimore Ravens are going to walk away with a 27-24 victory in overtime over the Green Bay Packers. Michael Vick, not one of his best games, 16 for 25, 232 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. Tom Brady, 281 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Bo Jackson did contribute in this game with 18 attempts, 100 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase was a problem. But Michael Thomas on our end, 6 catches, 108 yards. That's good enough. We'll get that done. Good win. So remember, small wins can change everything. 1% improvement every day will get you where you want to go. You can't do it all in one shot. You have to take small steps, and they add up to a lot. Thank you very much for listening. I'm looking forward to continue this. I'm looking forward to continuing this season and getting into the playoffs. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Bye.